Morning to all of you. Is my voice is audible?
Yes.
Okay, we wait for a minute to others to join, then start.
Great.
So meanwhile, you can give your attendance while scanning this QR code. Okay, so what we have learned in the previous class or what we have discussing. So anyone can explain? क्या discuss कर रहे थे हम लोग? Yes. What we are discussing in the previous class? Nobody is answering. क्या पढ़े थे हम लोग पिछले क्लास में? क्या डिस्कस कर रहे थे? So we are discussing about different properties of a Fourier transformation. Okay, or we can say different properties of Fourier transform. Okay, तो पहला प्रॉपर्टी पढ़े थे हम लोग सेपरेबल. ओके, देन दूसरा प्रॉपर्टी था आपका ट्रांसलेशन. ओके, सो व्हाट द ट्रांसलेशन से बेसिकली ट्रांसलेशन क्या डिफाइन करता है? व्हेन वी ट्रांसलेट ए particular image in your spatial domain. Suppose this is my actual image f of xy. So suppose I will translate this image to the new coordinate x0 and y0, which is represented by this new function, which is nothing but f of x dash x0 comma y dash y0. Then what will be the changes in your frequency domain? The changes in your frequency domain will be there will be some additional phase angle. ठीक है, फ्रीक्वेंसी डोमेन में क्या चेंज होगा? फ्रीक्वेंसी डोमेन में आपका एक एडिशनल फेज एंगल आपका ऐड होगा. Now this is the expression, this is given. Okay, now you can see in this expression. Now this is new Fourier transformation of translated image, which is represented by f of t u. Okay, this is ये क्या आपका? This is your new Fourier translation of an we can say new Fourier transform of an translated image, which is given by this particular formula. So here we can see that it is nothing but the original image, okay, or we can say original frequency translation multiplied by some exponential component, okay, which is nothing but your if you remember, I can represent the f of ut in the complex format. That is nothing but it is mod of f of u into e to power of minus j sum phi u. Now this is the complex representation of f of u or frequency domain of an image. So what is this? This part is nothing but your phase angle. Okay. So what happens? So whenever you translate the image in time domain, so what changes will be frequency domain? So we will have an additional phase angle. So we will have some additional phase angle. The magnitude will be remain same. There will be a nothing changes in the magnitude. That means the magnitude spectrum will remain same. Okay, but there is changes in your phase angle spectrum. Okay, there will changes in the phase angle spectrum. What is the reason? The reason is we have added some additional phase angle. Okay, this is a translation. This is about translation. How translation will be affected in case of frequency domain. Fine. So next property we have discussed. Okay, similarly we can find the inverse transformation translation also. Sorry, inverse transform of a translation image, which will be given as same equation. Okay, next property that we have studied is periodicity. So what periodicity is said? We said that if an image is transformed with some periodic time period of n, okay. So if we translate with some time period of n, then it will be periodic in nature. That is, the frequency domain of f of ub is equivalent to frequency domain of f of u plus n. Now n is a periodic signal with respect to the u coordinate. Okay, or you can change with respect to the v coordinate, or you can change both the coordinates. So it will be same. Okay, it is periodic in nature. So if you translate the frequency from one period to another period, the frequency will not change, or I can say the frequency uh, translation will be periodic in nature. Fine. So this can be proved very easily by this mathematical equation which is given. Okay, this is the third property of an image transformation or Fourier transformation, we can say. Then the fourth property is called conjugate property. Okay. Now what a conjugate property say? Now if f of xy is original image, now its complex conjugate is represented by f star xy. Okay, so complex conjugate is nothing but you have to interchange the sign of the complex value. So what happens if f of x y is original image? So if the complex conjugate is represented by your f star xy, okay, then what will be is Fourier transformer. Fourier transformer is given by f of uv. Okay. Now when we find the Fourier transform of this one, okay, so it will be something like f star uv. Okay, then what is the relation between these two? The relation between these two is given by this one. That will be their complex conjugate will be equal, but the coordinate will be folded in negative direction. Fine. यहाँ पर देख सकते हैं हम लोग f of ub is equal to complex conjugate of minus u and minus v. Fine. So this is the relation of complex conjugate in your frequency domain. Okay, so what happens in the frequency domain? The frequency domain, they will equal but in folded nature. Folded means their value of v and v coordinate will be just reversed. So again, the power spectrum or magnitude spectrum of this will be same. It will be not affected. So this is something about complex conjugate of an Fourier transformation. Then next, very important property, two very important property, which first one is uh, convolution and correlation. Okay, the property is convolution and correlation. So why it is important? So as we are already know, okay, the convolution in one domain will be equivalent to multiplication in other domain. So what is easier here? Now, as we know, the multiplication of a matrix is easier, okay, than finding a convolution of a matrix, or we can say multiplication of a signal is much easier compared to find the convolution of a signal. Fine. Now same thing we have expressed here. So if f of x and g of x are two signal, okay. So instead of finding the convolution, okay, what we can go for? Now we will convert these two in their frequency domain. Okay. Now this f of u is frequency domain of f of x, and g of u is a frequency domain of g of x. Now instead of finding the convolution of these two signal in time domain, what will we do? We will find the multiplication of these two signal in the frequency domain, and the result will be same. Either you find the convolution in time domain, or you find the multiplication in the frequency domain. The result will be same. So this is the convolution property of Fourier transformation. Similarly, the reverse will be same. Either you find the convolution in the frequency domain, or you find the multiplication in the time domain. The reverse is also same. Clear? So this is the conversion property which is very important regarding to your image processing because this reduces your complexity. Okay, complexity आपको किसी भी चीज में कंप्यूटिंग कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी को ये काफी reduce कर देता है. तो next आपका है correlation. So correlation is basically used to find the relation between the two signals. Okay, so when basically we use the correlation property to identify the relation between any two signals. So it is very much similar to convolution, but there is slight difference. The same thing, the finding the correlation in one domain will be equivalent to the multiplication in other domain, but here the multiplication should be done with a complex conjugate. Okay, in this case, what happened? Both are actual Fourier transformation, but in this case, the first one will be your complex conjugate, then second one will be your original transformation. Fine. So instead of finding the correlation in any time domain, so we can find the multiplication of that two particular images in frequency domain. But you have to remember that in the correlation, you have to multiply with the is complex conjugate. Now first you have to find the DFT of the complex conjugate of the image, then you have to perform the multiplication. Fine. So this is about property regarding the correlation and conjugate. So this three property is very important. Okay. So in the lab section, we will prove that these two property are validated. Okay, we will convert the images and see that their multiplication and convolution both are same. Result of both are same. Fine. Okay, so let us start the next property to this. So that is called rotation. Okay, the next property. So that up to the convolution and correlation we have already covered in the previous class. Okay, yes or no? So now today we are going to discuss the next property, which is called your rotation. That means how rotation will going to affect. Okay, when we will rotate any image in your time domain or spatial domain, then what will be its effect on your frequency domain. ठीक है, अगर हम लोग स्पेशल डोमेन में अगर इमेज को कुछ रोटेट करेंगे तो उसका क्या चेंजेस होगा फ्रीक्वेंसी डोमेन में. Okay, so it is very simple. So whatever and with the angle you have rotated the image in a time domain, okay, the same angle will be rotated in your frequency domain. कहने का मतलब है जिस एंगल से आप इमेज को टाइम डोमेन में रोटेट करोगे, सपोज आई हैव रोटेटेड at angle of 45 degree at spatial domain or time domain, then in your frequency domain, okay, in your frequency domain, the image will also rotate with the same angle. Fine. So how it is represented? As we know, so the f of xy, suppose I say this is f of xy, my original image coordinate. Now this can be represented as a polar coordinate also. Yes or no? So what is the polar coordinate representation of x? Now x can be represented as cos theta and y can be represented as sine theta. Yes or no? These are the polar coordinate of x and y. Okay. Now I can represent the image xy. Okay. In terms of what? In terms of like f of or you can write r cos theta. R is your radius, where r is your radius. You can take r cos theta when r is your radius. So f can be represented as, instead of x, what I will write? I will write r cos theta, and instead of y, I can write y sin theta. Fine. So these two are equivalent. Either represent in your x and y coordinate or representing polar coordinate. Fine. Similarly, if I represent, now I know that f of uv is what? F of uv is nothing but your DFT of the image. Okay. Discrete Fourier transform of the image. Now this can be also represented. Now I can represent u as w cos phi. Okay, and v as w sin phi. Fine. So now this is representation in your time domain. Now similarly I can write capital F of UV. तो क्या लिख सकते हैं? Now I can write capital W cos phi, comma capital W sin phi. Fine. Now this is your what? This is your frequency domain representation. Either you represent like this or represent in polar form. Similarly, this is your uh, time domain representation. This is one ordinary representation. This is a polar representation. Now suppose you have rotated this image in a time domain with the angle of theta. Fine. अगर हम लोग अभी इसको टाइम डोमेन में अगर एंगल ऑफ थीटा में रोटेट करेंगे, fine. So same angle, with the same angle, this will also will rotate it. Okay. Now this same angle, with the same angle, this will also rotate. Now you can see here in this same thing is done. The axis written is r cos theta and y written there will be r sin theta. Similarly, u is w cos theta and v is w sin theta. Fine. Then we can represent the image f of xy is equal to r theta, and we can write this f of r cos theta comma r sin theta. Similarly, the frequency domain is given by f of uv, which is nothing but f of w theta of frequency domain. Now you can write this one. Now, if the image is rotated by the angle theta, okay. Now, what is the new coordinate? New coordinate will be something f of r cos theta plus theta naught, where theta naught is a new coordinate of rotation. Fine. Here, now it will be r sin theta plus theta. Fine. So what we are doing? Same, you can write f of r comma theta plus theta naught. That means we have rotating the original image with the angle theta. So whenever you rotate the original image with angle theta, so what will be the effect on the frequency? So there will be some same rotation, okay, same amount of rotation that will be performed on your frequency domain also. So that is the reason we have written. Now in the frequency domain also there will be a rotation that will be w cos, so I will write phi plus phi naught. Okay, where here theta naught is equal to phi naught. Remember this one. Theta naught is equal to phi naught. But theta naught is your rotation in time domain. Phi naught is rotation is frequency domain, and these two are equal. So equal amount of rotation is performed. So similarly, it will be w sin phi plus phi naught. Okay, now you can establish the relation. This one. Now these two are equal. You can say equal amount of rotation is performed. Fine. So this is about rotation. Remember this point about rotation. Okay. So what rotation say? So whenever you perform certain amount of rotation in your time domain, then the same amount of rotation will also reflected in your frequency domain. Is it clear to all of you this property? What is rotation property for the DFT? For the rotation property for the DFT say? Okay. So now this is an example. You can visualize your example. Now suppose this is my image, okay, of rectangle. Now this is a square rectangle. This is the white images in the form of rectangle. So this is the DFT of this image. Okay, if I convert, if I perform distinct Fourier transform, so this will be your frequency domain representation of this image. Fine. Now what we have done, now I have rotated this image with the angle of 45 degree. Okay, if I rotate this image of angle of 45 degree, then again I perform the DFT over it. Okay, फिर से अगर इसके ऊपर इसकी Fourier transform करेंगे. Now what will happen? Now you can see here. Okay, you can see here, clearly see here. Now both the frequency transform are not same. This and this are different. Okay, so whenever you perform certain rotation, so what happens? The image form in frequency domain are also changed. So what changes here done? Now this is also rotated. Okay, this particular image, okay, in the frequency domain is also rotated with an angle of 45 degree clockwise. Fine, clear. So this is the rotation property. If you perform any rotation in your time domain, okay, now what you have done, now you perform the rotation in a time domain in this case. So if you perform the rotation in a time domain, then what will it do? Now it will reflect the property also in the frequency domain. Fine. So what it says, the same amount of rotation that will be performed in your frequency domain also. Okay. So this is about rotation. The next property is your scaling. Okay. Fine. Scaling. So scaling. Yeah, let me finish scaling. So next property जो आपका scaling है. So what the scaling is saying? So scaling is basically defined that if you perform, okay, if you perform some changes in the time domain, that will reflect on your frequency domain. That means we can say if we decrease the size in the time domain, that will be increase the size in your frequency domain, and this is the reverse. Okay, vice versa we can say. If we are increase the size in time domain, then it will be decrease the size in frequency domain. Okay, so scaling are basically used to increase or decrease the size of the image. Okay, why we are using scaling? So scaling are basically used whenever we need to either increase the size of the image or decrease the size of the image. So we will go for the scaling. And how it is reflected? How it is reflected? It will be completely inverse to each other. If you perform increase in size in your time domain, that will be decrease, okay, that will be reflect decrease in your size in your frequency domain. Or if it will be decrease in size in time domain, it will increase the size in frequency domain. Now this is a formula we can see here. Now I can let me explain. Now if f of xy is your if f of xy is your original image, fine. So if I perform scaling of a vector a comma b, ठीक है, अगर a comma b से scaling कर रहे हैं, and the new image will be something f of ax comma by, है कि नहीं? This is in time domain. Time domain पे अगर हम लोग scaling कर रहे हैं, with the scaling factor of a and b, okay. What is the new coordinate? The new coordinate will be f of ax comma by. Now what will happen in the frequency domain? Now I know that the frequency domain of this is f of capital UV. Okay. Now if I perform the scaling here in the frequency domain, the same amount of scale, okay, or same factor a and b. So what will reflect? Now it will be 1 upon 1 by mod AB. Okay. Now f of, now you can see here what is happening. Instead of v, the coordinate will be now v by a comma u by b. Okay. Now what happened actually? Now we have increased the size in the frequency domain. Oh, sorry, we can increase the size in time domain. Yes or no? So when we are writing f and scaling with the factor a and b, what is the new coordinate? New coordinate is f of ax comma by. That is, we have increased the size in time domain. So what is the reflection in the frequency domain? So we know that frequency domain का क्या f of uv, जब हम इसको scaling करेंगे frequency domain के same vectors a and b, the new value will be, you can see now it is f of v by a and f of u by v. Okay, that means it is decreased. Now we have decreased the value of it by a and b. Now this is reversely, it is true. Okay, reversely it is true. So whenever you perform reverse action, that will be also true. Now it will be increased like f of a v vu. Now it will be 1 upon mod ab f of x by a y by b. Now reverse condition is true also. Fine. So this is called scaling. What you understand by the scaling factor. तो जस्ट इतना याद रखना आपको, ये दोनों रिवर्स होता है. अगर एक डोमेन में आप स्केलिंग करोगे ओके, और मैग्नीफाई करेंगे मैग्नीट्यूड को, तो दूसरे डोमेन में उसका मैग्नीट्यूड डिक्रीज होगा, और पर्टिकुलर अगर टाइम डोमेन में हम लोग मैग्नीट्यूड को इंक्रीज करेंगे तो फ्रीक्वेंसी डोमेन में मैग्नीट्यूड डिक्रीज हो जाएगा. Okay, the last property is called distributive property. Okay, distributive property of DFT. Now this is very simple. So just remember 2 points. The additional operator. Okay, the additional operator is distributive in nature. Okay, so we can say that if we are having two function. Okay, if I'm having two images. Now first one image is f of 1 x comma y, and the second image f of 2 x comma y. Okay, now distributive properties say that if I add these two images, okay, if I add these two images and perform the DFT over it, okay, DFT over it, so whatever result we get, okay, whatever result we get, okay, पहले हम लोग इन दोनों इमेज को ऐड किए, सपोज इन दोनों इमेज को ऐड करने के बाद, तो लेट मी राइट द रिजल्टेड इमेज. Okay, let me write the resulted image. If I add this image, suppose the resulted image is f3 f of xy. Right? Now if I perform the DFT over it, distant Fourier transformation, suppose I get capital F of. Okay. Now what does this two property say? Now this will be equivalent to, either you can add these two, then find the DFT, or you can find the DFT of, okay, DFT of first image, that is f of xy, plus DFT of second image, that is f of 2 of xy, x comma y. Now that will be equal to what? F of u comma v. That means either you first perform the addition, then find the DFT of it. So that will be equal to, either you can find the individual DFT of each of these. Clear? So this is distributive property. So we can say the additional operator is distributed in your Fourier transformation, or DFT. Whenever you find the DFT of the images, now additional operator is distributed. Fine. But the multiplication operator is not distributed. That means same thing. So whenever you find the multiplication of two images, then you find the DFT of there, that will be not equal to individually finding the DFT that multiply. So we can say multiplication operator is not distributive in your Fourier transformation, but your positive or plus operator is distributive. Fine. So with this, we have completed your different properties of Fourier transformation. Okay, or we have completed your Fourier transformation. So what we have learned? So we have learned the Fourier transformation, why it is important. First of all, why we need image transformation. Okay, what is the importance of image transformation? Then we have seen there are different types of transformation based on the property of the signal. It's like the sinusoidal signal, non-sinusoidal signal, or orthogonal signal. So based on that, we have number of transformation. So out of this, the Fourier transformation is one of the important, because for the reason it is very simple to use. Fine. So we have seen Fourier transformation of one-dimensional signal, then one-dimensional discrete signal. Then we have seen the Fourier transformation of two-dimensional signal. But our interest is on Fourier transformation of two-dimensional discrete signal. What is the reason? Because the image is basically represented in a two-dimensional discrete format. So we are basically interested in 2DFT. Okay, two-dimensional DFT. So we have derived the formula for that. Yes or no? Then we have calculated different spectrum, right? Formula for the magnitude spectrum or Fourier spectrum, formula for the phase spectrum, then formula for the power spectrum. Then we have studied some, or we have studied some of the properties that are related to 2DFT or discrete Fourier transformation. So basically, we have studied 9 different properties. separable property, translation, periodic, complex conjugate, convolution, correlation, then your rotation property, distributed properties, and scaling property. So these are the 9 properties that we have studied with respect to Fourier transformation. Fine. So with that, we have completed this one. Now we will go for the second type of transformation, okay, which is your called distinct cosine transformation. So we have some of the drawbacks here, okay. In your Fourier transformation, we have some of the drawbacks. To overcome this drawback, okay, to overcome this drawback, we have so we have used second form of transformation, which is called discrete Fourier transformation, okay, or discrete cosine transformation, okay. So there are some drawbacks in a Fourier transformation. To overcome those drawbacks, we are using discrete cosine transformation. So what is the major drawback? So one of the first major drawbacks is, if you see the Fourier representation, okay, if I represent Fourier transformation, so it will be something UV equal to mod of f of u e to the power of minus j, okay, phi u. Now, how the representation is? Now, this is your complex representation. Yes or no? When we are representing the image in your frequency domain, so basically, if you use the Fourier transformation, so what we have doing? So we have representing the image in complex format. So as we know, it is very difficult to handle or perform computational on the complex uh, format images or complex form numbers. Okay, so it is the time complexity of this one is much larger. Okay, whenever we perform, basically what we are doing, we are converting this image to the Fourier transformation so that we can extract certain information or we can perform some processing, pre-processing on it. But if the data is in the form of complex number, as we are seeing here, okay, so what will happen? Now your complexity of the processing will increase. Okay, so this is one of the major drawback of Fourier transformation. Second drawback is your Fourier transformation basically we can say uh, energy compact. Okay, the energy compact in your Fourier transformation is much higher. Okay, so to reduce the energy compact in Fourier transformation, so we have used the alternate transformation, which is called your discrete cosine transformation. Fine. So because of these two drawbacks, we have gone for the another type of transformation, which is your discrete cosine transformation. So this transformation is first proposed by the we can say the scientist Ahmad and Natarajan Rao in the year 1994. Okay, sorry, 1974. So in the year 1974, this particular method is first proposed. Okay, to convert a particular signal from a time domain to frequency domain. Fine. Here also we are converting the particular signal from a time domain to frequency domain. But what is the difference here? Now when we are converting in a real value discrete signal. Okay, fine. Or we can say the real, we are converting it to a real value discrete sinusoidal unitary transformation. Okay. Now here the term unitary is very important. Unitary means the basic function, the basis function. So as I already discussed what you mean the basis function, basis functions are nothing but basic building block of any signal. Okay, so whatever signal you design, every signal will have basic building block of it. Fine. Now here the basic building block. Okay, in case of cosine transformation, whatever signal we will generate, the basic building blocks are discrete sinusoidal unitary transformation form. And what is unitary? Unitary is nothing but when we have if it is orthogonal in nature, that means A into A star A transpose should be equal to identity matrix. Now this property should be valid, then only this property should be valid for the discrete cosine transformation, or we can say the basis function should be unitary format. That means अगर A आपका any matrix है, then A into A transpose should be identity matrix होना चाहिए. Now this condition should be hold for the discrete cosine transformation. Fine. So discrete cosine transformation is a member of a family. Okay, we can say how to transform, or it will be transformed into real value of discrete sinusoidal unitary transformation. Now this discrete cosine transformation, or I can say DST. Okay, in short we can write DST. Okay, I can write DST consists of set of basis vector that are sample cosine function. Okay, so it basically consists of different basic cosine function, which is or basic vectors, which is nothing but sample cosine function. Now, what a technique used? The DST is used a technique to convert a signal into frequent elementary frequency component, and it is widely used for image compression. Now, this is very important, relevant to the DST. Why we are used DST? Now, basically DST are used for image compression. Okay. Now, whenever you need to store the data or store the images in less storage, and you have to transmit that one in low bandwidth. Okay. जब कभी भी इमेज को आपको लो बैंडविड्थ में ट्रांसमिट करना है या लेस स्पेस पे स्टोर करना है, okay, now discrete transformation will very much important. DST will be very important because with the help of a DST or discrete cosine transformation, we can perform image compression. We can compress the image without losing its property. Okay. तो क्या होता है यहाँ पर without actually losing the property of the image, actual property of the image, we can compress the image so that we can store the image in less space, okay, less storage space, and it can be transmitted in a low bandwidth. So that is why this DST is very useful. Okay, discrete cosine transformation. Then again, second point, it will be for energy compact के लिए भी use होता है. Okay, because as we know that one of the drawbacks of Fourier transformation is it is high energy compact, but the discrete transformation can be used for the low energy compact. So what you mean by energy compact? It is nothing but ability to pack the energy of spatial sequence. Okay, so nothing but pack the energy of a spatial sequence into a free frequency component is possible, is called energy compact. That means when we are converting, okay, when we are converting the our spatial sequence, okay, or spatial coordinate to the frequency domain. So how much frequency coefficient are we are using for converting? So that depend upon your energy compaction. Okay, in case of FF, we can say Fourier transformation. Okay, FT. So distinct Fourier transform DFT, the energy compression is very high, whereas in case of DST, discrete cosine transformation, the energy compact is very low. So that is the reason we can able to compress the image. Okay, the main objective of DST is how effectively we can compress the image. Fine. Clear? So what is the basic about the DST? What do you mean by DST? Okay. So let me show the mathematical formula. So this is a mathematical formula for the DST, how we can calculate the DST. Now, as we are calculated for the Fourier transformation, okay, Fourier transformation जैसे formula था, यहाँ पर भी आपका formula है, but here you can see there is a no complex part. Okay, we are having only a basic function of cosine function. Okay, here in that case, previous case में क्या था आपका e to the power of minus j